Where will the collective consciousness be in 5 or 10 years' time? Well, some people have been reading some recent thoughts on what are we doing as a human species. Some people think the Earth is where all the other planets dump their failed projects. Somebody said to me recently that humanity itself is a failed alien project. Those of you that are into perceiving, we have to, do aliens exist? Otherworldly beings do exist. And at the moment, people will perceive mostly of what they expect and choose to perceive. Once you see, you cannot not see. And so I was just going to mention actually Schrodinger's cat, but I think my cat is behaving extraordinary this evening. I think he's picking up on the vibration. Schrodinger's cat, for those of you that don't know, is that it's the potential to hold two opposing realities into the same moment of thought. That's actually my description of Schrödinger. You can read up on Schrodinger's cat. It's an interesting experiment in philosophy. So can we hold multiple dimensions in our mind at the same time? Well, a lot of people aren't prepared for this, but it will happen. And so people start to perceive of other dimensional realities in and on top of this one. And that's where a lot of people will start to think, well, I'm just seeing weird things now. Weird things are happening. So let me give you my top tip for when really bizarre and weird things happen. Let me give you the analogy of a library. Now, I run my mind like a library. So I have different floors that I keep different pieces of information on. I have the archive material in the basement, and we go up the levels of, we start in science at the bottom, and history, archaeology, that comes up into psychology, psychoanalysis, philosophy, and then metaphysics. And that is how my mind works. So if you ask me a question, I go off into one of those levels of storage in the long-term memory that we all have. When you have a sudden download of information, it's like all the books have come off of all the shelves and suddenly appeared at the reception desk. So what you do is, when weird things happen, and synchronicity can be, for those of us that have been working with synchronicity for years, it's entertaining. For those that's new to this world, it's bizarre. But for your health of your psychology, I'd urge you to create a file anyway, or a shelf somewhere. And every time something happens that you really cannot fathom, I'm going to say, don't try and fathom that too much. You see, humans can only use their mind to, it's much greater than they think they can at the moment. But there is a small percentage of knowledge that if you go into that, it's kind of going into God knowledge. Now, some people don't come back out of that. They head off long into insanity. So when bizarre things happen to you going forward in this rise that is going to happen, create this little mind file and just keep popping all the things in there, and you label it. I don't know what happened there.